Это правда, заебал меня.
Something about this game just feels off. Not in a bad way, it's just... it doesn't feel like a game sometimes. The moment I realized I liked this game, but also made me a bit scared of it, was when it made me think about how fragile everything is. Pretty much that whole situation back there, there wasn't really a decision. I mean, you hear someone, or you see someone, and it's just already decided. Either you make it back, or they do. And I think that's the part that kind of stuck with me, because it's not really about the combat or the mechanics, it's just how normal that starts to feel. At first I thought it was just slow, or maybe even a little empty, but after a couple of runs, after a couple of my first deaths, it started to feel more like what things would actually look like if everything just fell apart. I'm talking about no systems, no help, just whatever's left. And people aren't fighting because they want to, they're fighting because they have to. You see this pretty much right away in the village. Nothing feels intact, houses are just left there. There's graffiti everywhere, doors open, things half torn apart. Like, people didn't leave, they just stopped being there. And the people that you do run into, they're not soldiers, they're not organized, it's just whoever's still around. Some guy's got a Glock, someone else has an old AK. And it's not even about the weapons, it's just they're trying to get something out of you. Food, gear, anything. And if they can take it, they will. And that's when it kind of hits you. You could get killed over something as small as a can of food, and nobody's stepping in to stop it. But at the end of any successful run, you end up back at the trader, just dumping whatever it is you managed to carry out. Half of it you didn't really even need, you just grabbed it because you kind of felt like you should. And it's one of the only places that actually feels normal, like things are still working the way that they're supposed to. But even that doesn't really last, because you're not there to stay, you're just there to reset and go back out again. And there's also a very similar feeling when you get to your shelter. You close the door, everything's quiet. For a second it feels like you're actually safe, which you are, but it's not really safety. It's more like a break. Because eventually, you're just gonna go back out again. Whether you run out of food, or you're just down to your last drink, or you just need to sleep through the night, you always end up back outside. And it's not just the village either. Once you start moving further out, it doesn't really change. Because you've got the border zone, minefields, patrols, people that are way more equipped than you are, and it still feels the same. There's no moment where it suddenly becomes controlled or predictable, it's just a different version of the same situation. Even going into Vostok where you've got actual soldiers, it doesn't suddenly feel structured, it just feels more dangerous. And the game kind of reinforces that too, because if you die out there, that's it. You're starting over. So everything you do actually matters. It's not just losing a fight, it's losing everything you built up to that point. And this is just the demo. There's supposed to be more layered on top of this. Days passing, events happening. But even without that, this already feels pretty complete. And I think for a demo, that's why it stuck with me a little more, because it doesn't really feel like a system. It just feels like this is what's left, and after a while, you stop thinking about it like a game, and you just start thinking about what you'd do if you were actually there. And I didn't really expect to get that out of something like this.